All right, we're live. Oh, hey, let me get rid of the. Hold on a second, guys. I gotta get rid of this. Boom, 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 boom. Kapow!
Sounds good.
Oh. What's up, fellas?
What's up, guys?
What's up, man? What's up, the Hexicans?
Obviously, the price is starting to move up. Did anybody catch that dip?
Well, Steph did. I know that Steph did because he was on my show last night. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna catch the dip," or he's like, "I'm gonna buy in right now." He bought it, and it literally went straight up after that. I was like, "Dang, you got like a 10%."
I gotta trade with Steph because it does the opposite when I buy. As soon as I buy, it goes boom.
You Dude, I only got 51.
I'll be like, 51. You want to short something? Just wait till I buy, and you can just short the shit out of it.
Yeah,
my whole career. My whole crypto trading career.
That's why it's always good to dollar cost average in.
The wrecked pirate.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we want to tell who's here today. You go ahead, RG3.
Okay. So, all right, everybody. So welcome to Discourse Syndicate. I'm RG3. I got my partner Hexologist and Litecoin Moses with us today. The regulars. And then we were out there searching for people to get on the show. And We've done a few of these. We've done 10 of these now, and none of the Hex women have gotten on the show. So I've been trying, probably because our Telegram is full of women who say they're women, but they're actually guys just putting women's pictures up there trying to get tips and shit. But anyway, I couldn't get any, and I had some crypto friends on Twitter, and one of them who I just find super intriguing. She's very edgy. She's witty as fuck. I mean, she's just one of the coolest crypto people out there that I've seen, because she's honest and open-minded. And her name is NrdGrl, and I'm going to bring her up right now, and we're going to actually finally talk to our first person outside of the Hex community, but she just happens to be a woman. I'm going to try and get her on when we just have the women at Hex on too. But for now, we're just going to bring her up as she's an outsider looking at Hex, asking questions. She's a writer also. She writes for crypto publications online, and I'll let her explain that a little more because I haven't researched it. I've seen that she's also getting ready to do another show with another gentleman that does crypto. So without any further wasting of time, I'm going to bring her up. NrdGrl, you there?
What's up? I'm here. Yeah. Hi.
Look at you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on.
So, yeah, this is my real exposure to Hex only is via social media and a really limited amount of research that I've done myself, but it's good to be able to ask questions.
Well, okay, let's start there. Tell us what research you've done and what you see and what your opinion is as of today.
Well, my opinion as of today is undecided. So really, I'm just still asking questions. But one thing that makes me want to ask questions about Hex is generally the amount of disdain for it that there is in the community. So I recognized this trend when I was writing for CCN, little over a year ago, where whenever something was bashed really hard and kind of excluded and made its own unique community, which I think often, in crypto cults, is something that we're called, that is a term that is used, the XRP cult, the BSV cult. I've heard people call Hex a cult. Generally, when something gets marginalized that much, for me, that has been an indication that I need to look at that project because there's something really threatening about it. And whether the thing that's threatening about it is that it's a scam and threat to, crypto's reputation as a whole, or the thing that's threatening about it is its value. It remains unseen. I do know that, me looking at BSV for this reason when I worked for CCN was hugely controversial. And also, as terrible as it's going to sound, it was massively profitable for me because I was smart enough to know that anything that's getting bashed that much is going to increase in value. So,
well, nothing's taken a bashing more than Hex, so you might want to consider that.
Yeah.
No,
we've
gone
been bashed
there.
by all of them, the best of them, the worst of them, you name it. It's been bashed. And that word that you're talking about was tribalism, and it's a little different than being a cult. It's tribalism. It's I'm going to get in my side. I'm going to get on my team because these are my bags. Is kind of what crypto has turned into. And then, of course, then you have all the other teams that are, hey, I'm on this team because I make money off of these advertisers. And a lot of crypto influencers are making money off of, shilling exchanges, shilling platforms, shilling margin trading, shilling all those things that, in my opinion, are actually out there wrecking people and hurting people getting into crypto. Because in my opinion, trading crypto is probably the worst thing that a human being can do because of the volatility. It's one thing to trade in a market and know what you're doing. It's another thing to try and bring that knowledge into crypto and think you know what you're doing, because how can you trade on 85% swings if you don't know they're coming? When somebody can actually,
so that's another major thing that makes crypto so different, is that you can completely wreck yourself financially. You can also absolutely destroy your physical and mental health.
Oh yeah, and we've seen it. Look at some of them out there. Look at us.
Yeah.
So let's see. So what kind of questions do you have? What are some of the questions that you're
one of the questions that I have is about who controls a majority of the HEX tokens. So I've been, just doing some really preliminary research, and it seems like one of the major criticisms of the project is that, Richard Hart, or whatever this origins address that he claims that he doesn't controls like 45 or more of the HEX that's in circulation, and that there is some kind of clause saying that could be, I can't remember what the exact terminology used was or how to phrase it correctly, but that could be pulled from the markets at any time, and that then it would be impossible for anybody to buy or to sell their HEX bags.
Right. They're talking about the liquidity on the Uniswap contract, I believe, is what they think that the origin address, which nobody actually knows if it's actually him or the origin address, putting
who
the
else could the
on
origin
there.
address be?
Right. Yeah. Well, I know. Well, actually, it could be it could be a company that put Richard as like a front man. Like, we honestly have no idea. So we're just in the dark. Our guesses are just as good as yours.
But let's put a theory out there.
Yeah, studying from like watching Richard for years, I think that Richard might just be a front man. Like, he had to get those audits that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars put before even, like, we're a completed project for a reason. We didn't get any money for beforehand. And so somebody had to front run the money to him so we get all those audits done. And so maybe somebody put that money up for him, and now they're the origin address owners, and they are the ones that are controlling it. And Richard is just good at taking a bashing, and maybe that's so that. But yeah, that's a valid concern, I think, is the liquidity getting taken off of Uniswap. But there is, we're on 25 different exchanges now, I roughly about. So, it's not like all of the liquidity could get taken off. Maybe on the most highest volume, it could get taken off. But then we just move to a regular exchange. But talking about the 45% that you're talking about of being owned by the origin address, I'm not sure that it's 45%, but even if it was, look at XRP, look at some of the other ones. Centralization isn't like a horrible thing. It just means, if that person doesn't want to dump on you, then why is it a bad thing that
it exists everywhere in crypto?
Yeah, if it's not decentralized, if everything's decentralized, and and there's a bunch of bad players in there trying to attack the network, like, it's just as bad to be decentralized or completely decentralized and have everybody have 1%. You're going to get bad actors in there. And no matter what you look, what you see in crypto, there's always going to be some sort of centralization. Somebody's going to own more coins than somebody else. And why not have somebody that that built the project, just like a company? Jeff Bezos owns more than 51% of Amazon. Why wouldn't he?
Really uncommon for a publicly traded stock, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And so it's just like,
too.
Yeah, and Facebook and all of these. It's like you know, you want the owner to probably own more than anybody else, or it just becomes the other person who's owning all of the project's money, or their project, you know, and then they can take it however they want. They can sell down on the people, and so yeah, that's just my opinion on it.
And even for the maxis out there, Satoshi's bags are sitting on BTC's, you know, head too. So it's still there.
There's lots of different projects that have, you know, look at Bitfinex. They have 98% of all of their token. Look at, you know, like, which I understand, like it is a big concern for people, but it's like, I just don't understand why, like people, I think it's Richard Hart. People don't like Richard Hart. Is the first, but they don't want him to have it.
It's not even that, Hexo. It's looking at the history of the OA at this point. You know, you can go back and trace everything that's been going on and see that the OA has been acting in the best interest of the project.
Yeah.
So for, if you really dissect Hex and look at Hex, having the OA exit scam or the OA help Hex to grow and build and develop, as far as, you know, what it does and how it affects the ecosystem, by not dumping and by doing the things that we all assume or think it's doing, what it appears to be doing, then you have a whole different concept of what Hex really is. Because if it is operating in that capacity, then at this point, it's likely to say that it would behoove of the OA to continue doing what it's doing for the stability and the growth of Hex.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
All right.
I mean, but that's just a theory, and that's just a theory that's out there. And yes, it could dump, but so could a lot of other things, you know.
Sure,
So,
yeah. Always a risk. So I have another question based on what you said yesterday during our kind of introductory call, RG, and that was that. Sorry, now I'm thinking. Okay, that Hex was designed to look like a scam so that it would bring people in, and so that, like, as a marketing tactic. And like, I have not been able to stop thinking about that since
I think that people think that, like, so on the website it says designed to do 10,000x in a 2.5 year period.
Sure. Yeah.
So they everybody comes back to that. They're like, you're promising that we're going to do that. Well, if you look at Bitcoin, it's done 1,000,000x%, and it was designed to do so. It was designed to pump. That was one of the, you know, it's like if you look at it, this is the fastest appreciating asset in all of human history. And Bitcoin has gone up, I think, 1,000,000x or something, pretty like crazy like that. So why not, like, actually 10,000x, and saying designed is not a horrible thing. You can say anything a car is designed to go 100 miles an hour. It's designed. That's fine to say. You can say that. What people think that we're promising doing 10,000. We don't say we're guaranteeing you 10,000x. We say it's designed to do 10,000x. And people get hung up on that word designed, and they think that we're trying to say guaranteed. And it is meant to kind of like even the website. People get upset about the website where they're like, this just looks like a scam. Like, I think Richard Hart is a marketing genius, because he's talked about this many times, but he knows what gets people and what looks like a scam to some people. And he gets those people to stop giving their money to actual real scams that have been in the space for so long, and giving it to a real project that may look like a scam, but it actually is like a legit finished product where we don't have any devs that can need to continue to put anything in the code. Like, nobody can, I mean, if you like, nobody can exit scam. Nobody, like, the Hex code will always be there. Nobody's going to shut it off. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I apologize.
Oh, you're good. Oh, you're good. Nobody can run, like, the worst thing that could happen is Richard Hart sells the Ethereum and sells the Hex, and that's about it. Or whoever owns the origin address, I should say.
Okay, so
but that's the worst. The code was.
So what if that happens? Richard Hart.
Then he's done. Then he's done. Then the code is still running. We could still trade our Hex. We could still, everything still goes without Richard.
Hex if that happens.
Well, I mean, as we saw before, the hex, we were at 0.76 Satoshis at one time. Now we're at, well, I think we hit 70 Satoshis at one time and we came back down just a couple of weeks ago. Oops, sorry. There you go. But I mean, yeah, the value could go down in anything, but it doesn't mean that we don't need Richard Hart anymore. Like, that's the coolest thing about Hex is it's now a community coin. We don't need anybody to stand behind us. We don't need Richard Hart to get in front and be like, oh, please tell us what's next on the roadmap. Like, we don't have a roadmap. We have nothing. Like, it's complete. We don't have anything down the road that's supposed to be on top of Hex. Like, everything that you see is and if Richard dies and all of the websites his websites gets taken down, like the go.hex.win, we have more people that have made their own websites that we could interact with the contract, or we could use Etherscan, anything like that. Like, we don't need Richard Hart or the websites anymore. Like, Richard Hart is a good player in our ecosystem, but we also don't need him. Like, he could sell all of his coins, sell all the Ethereum, and we could.
The dev that's coming on today is the one who's developed one of the best sites on Hex that there is.
Yeah.
I mean, the community is already stepped up.
And none of these guys are paid. Like, we're not
dApps.
Paid from Richard. Nobody's getting any money from Richard. Like, we're all like.
Yeah,
it's off of the referral codes. Like, most of it, like that Hex.doctor that you see, that's my referral code. That's the only way I'm making any kind of if somebody clicks that and is like, oh, I want to, support Hexologist, or they want to support Litecoin Moses or RG3. That's the only way we make money in this ecosystem. Like, none of us are paid. And so, which is another reason why we aren't seeing huge dumps, is because everybody's locking their coins, and we're not paying any devs for the roadmap. We're not paying for somebody to have the devs or any of the other things in a business that you would need. We don't have to pay those because they've already been done. We're complete. We don't have to pay those.
Nothing.
No miners.
No miners too.
No miners,
the stakers in Hex are the miners. Like, we are the miners, and on like comparatively to Bitcoin, we're the people making the money. And it's distributed, pretty evenly. We don't have these. I don't know. You can still get in. So it's like we're still in the adoption phase of the entire project. So
you say that you don't need Richard Hart or a front man, but what happens if let's just theoretically say that Richard Hart does control that Origins address and he decides to, pull all of, like, what happens? Would that impact the value of the coins? And yes, I understand that anything can dump and that's a risk with any cryptocurrency, with any investment. Like, I'm not criticizing Hex specifically for it. I'm asking the question, what would happen to the value of the remaining Hex if whoever controls that origin address were to pull the liquidity?
Well, the liquidity on Uniswap, I mean, it would take a pretty big hit on Hex. That's my thoughts on it. I obviously don't know, but it would take a huge hit onto Hex, and we'd probably, we'd feel it for a while. But then it's just like those coins would get distributed to those coins get distributed to people that are actually in the coin and want to see the coin go up. I mean, what happens when XRP sells on their people every month with all their coins? It obviously lowers the price, but XRP went to $3.50 at one time, just because that's how markets roll. Like, just because, the origin address could dump on us and it could, mess up the entire markets. But why would somebody do that to their own project? That when it's a complete project, they don't have to. Like, he could. Oh, go ahead, start Litecoin.
Oh, I was like, even Charlie Lee sold all his Litecoin.
At the top.
At the top.
At the top.
And the Litecoin's still around.
We're not saying that he will never dump his coins. We're not saying that. We weren't saying, oh, he's gonna always get, pray that Richard Hart lives a good life so we don't have to. Like, I think that he probably will dump some of his coins, maybe not all of them at one time, but it's just, that's kind of how you, but he's not we're not paying for devs for the fee like XRPs. We're not paying for buildings and an office space and all these other things that most other coins have to pay. We don't have to pay that here.
It's immutable. It's done. It's on the blockchain.
Yeah.
It's done. And the other thing is, so there's two questions here usually about the originating addresses. What is it doing with the Hex? And what is it doing with the ETH?
Yep, that's my question.
It doesn't matter what it's doing with the ETH. It's nobody's damn business what anything does with any amount of money that comes into any company. Nobody asks anybody that question. So that's a ridiculous question for anybody to ask. What's happening to the ETH? Where's the ETH? It doesn't matter who has it. It's if you got into Hex, if you traded and minted your own Hex, you traded something of value for what you thought has more value. Just like you bought a trading card, just like you bought a car, just like you bought a home. You don't ask that person where your money went, where your investment went. That's good, done and gone with. So that question should just be off the table for anybody who's got any brains in their head at all. Where's the ETH is not even a question. So for all those people out there asking that, what's Richard doing with the ETH? What are they doing with the ETH? Shut the fuck up. It has nothing to do with anything. Sorry for losing it, but
all right.
That's not a question. So what about the Hex? That's the thing. The Hex is and right, that's the variable. If the Hex dumps, it dumps and it kills Hex. Why would the person who, or the entity, or the originator that is trying to build a project dump on it, or try and hurt it, or try and harm it when it's trying to build it? So that's the way you look at that variable.
It is speculative,
in my
for
opinion.
sure. Like
it's all speculative, just like everything.
It could, but it's just like you got to, like RG3 said, it's like, why would you kill your project? Why would you, if NerdGrl made a project, you made a NerdGrl coin, why would you try to kill your project by like dumping on everybody's head?
If you were going to make,
if you didn't have to,
you're going to make 12 million or $1 billion,
ETH.
would you shoot for the billion or the 12 million?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, if you've got something that's growing and doing so well and has the potential, and I think that for us being people that understand Hex, when we look at the future of Hex is what's really bright. This little run that we've got, this 100x crap that's happening right now, this ain't shit. This isn't nothing compared to when you unpeel the Hex onion and you look 5 years down the road at what this thing is going to do when it comes to share price and the ability for people to actually store their value and gain interest on it. The ramifications of what this thing is going to do to crypto are really astronomical, and people don't understand it yet. And the fact that they're calling it a scam is beautiful, because that means early adopters are getting in and scoring and becoming, people that are in a position that is going to catapult them into super success because of what the ecosystem is going to do in the future.
So I feel like that's, one of the major reasons why I got into ETH when I did. And, that being that Hex is built on ETH, you have to, at least to some degree, be, Ethereans or pro Ethereum, right? So the question is like, why, or in your opinion, does it make sense to hold Hex instead of ETH? Like if someone were looking at the possibility of buying, one coin or the other coin, why would you argue that Hex will increase in value at, a higher rate than ETH?
Well, do you have
what have we done to ETH so far? We're
the number one DApp on Ethereum right now, but like Ethereum doesn't have a referral program. Ethereum, it doesn't give you interest for holding it. Like you just get like the interest that you get on Hex is programmed into it. You're just making more Hex with just how staking it. You don't get that with Ethereum.
To create, you don't have to go through decentralized or centralized to stake your Hex the way that you do with ETH. Is that
right?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're just making an interest off of it. And I think that it's going to be a multiplier of ETH. On top of ETH, if ETH rises, I think Hex rises with it. Like,
well, it has.
At one point. I think at one point it'll be moving with it, just like Ethereum and Bitcoin kind of move together. I think that on top of ETH, like at a certain point, probably after the big payday, it'll start moving together a little bit more as as a multiplier. But yeah, I mean, the referral program. What else do we have? We've got the, that like Richard like calls them the pumpamentals of Hex, which is like the interest that's built onto it. I mean, big payday. There's incentivizing people to get onboarded. Like what else is there? There's interest rate of 3.69, and that depends on 3.69 is the interest rate that we'll be getting. But let's say that 50% of the people are staked. So that means you're actually going to be making about 20% of the actual pool of interest that year. So you're going to be making actually more if people are staked less. So when somebody's seeing like, oh man, there's only 50% of the people staked, I'm going to get 20% interest. Well, that incentivizes more people to try to stake their coin because they're getting more interest. And then as it climbs up to 80%, it'll go down. And 100% people staked will give 3.69% of the interest to everybody. But as that lowers down, it gives it that it's distributed. The 3.69 is distributed to the people that are staking. So it's you know, you get around 20% of the ROI.
Yeah, and that's on top of see, in Ethereum, you're waiting for price to X or to gain. You know, you're invested in something that the value of it has to increase for you to make any money off of it. In Hex, you're making dividends off of it. Versus just worrying about price, you know. So you're gaining in two ways. You're gaining interest where your Hex is actually creating more Hex, especially in the first year of the project, and then of course you're working on price after that also. So you're making dividends on your investment versus just waiting for price to go up.
But so if you're, you know, making dividends on your Hex, and I understand that the price of Hex has increased, you know, a ton in the last
10,000%.
10,000%. Okay. So this is not an attack. It's just a question. But like, so your dividends are paid in Hex. So if you're being paid dividends in Hex, but the dollar value of the Hex is like, let's just say, so we're, you know, kind of in what some people are calling a bull market right now. Yeah, and Hex has been going great. What if things start going worse? And then, yeah, you're still making dividends, you're still making Hex, but that Hex isn't worth the, you know.
Well, that's just any kind of currency. Like with Bitcoin, if you were making Bitcoin, it's like, yeah, you could buy a bunch of Bitcoin and put it in. I think Celsius Network gives dividends like that. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, so you can make dividends. And I mean, you're just because you're making extra Bitcoin off of that doesn't mean, or even mining it doesn't mean you're going to be able to sell that at any rate. There's pumpamentals built on, which is share price and share rates, which is it's pretty advanced, the shares of the whole thing. But the share price only goes up in Hex. So if you got in today, tomorrow it goes, you're not going to get in as a better rate, and the next day you're not going to get in at a better rate. So there's it's a exponential, you know, it's going exponential at all times, and the rate. It incentivizes people to get in because the share rate is going to continue to go up forever, and it's only going to continue to up. Share rate price is like different than, you know, the actual value of Hex. So we're not talking about the value of Hex in USD dollars. We're talking about the share price of it. And that, like I said, it's kind of advanced. You'd have to go and like kind of do shares.
It's very simple.
It's like hash rate. It's like hash rate in Bitcoin.
But it's very simple. People need to understand that Hex is built to expand Hex, period. End of story. You get in, you get your Hex, and your Hex is going to grow. It's built that way. That's how it is programmed. We don't know what's
going to happen with the USD.
We don't know what the price is going to be.
But you're going to get more Hex no matter what. That's programmed in. If you wanted 100 Hex, if you put 100 Hex in 10 days ago, you would have, you know, and we'll say that you made 10 Hex, like you know, in those 10 days, like you're always going to be paid that because the contract inflates itself. Like there's not somebody pulling the levers or pushing the buttons behind the scenes. They're like, no, you don't get this. Like it's just immutable. It's DeFi, the actual decentralized. Go ahead, Litecoin.
Go ahead. People give Hex. The people in coins is what gives coins their value, right? So so how many people are in your community is what gives value to a coin, right? Like let's just say Ethereum, it could be just as great as it is right now, but the minute there's no people using Ethereum, then it collapses, right? So what you want to look for is growing communities, you know, and Hex is probably one of the most active and friendliest communities in crypto. Like I've jumped around from community to community, and like I haven't found any outside of maybe the Litecoin community and stuff. The Hex community has been like wonderfully and great, you know, and very helpful. And they've actually helped onboard a lot of people to use MetaMask, which is really good for Ethereum as well. So I mean, it's like it's just an ecosystem of just community. And a lot of people try to say like this is the reason why my coins only go up because of this roadmap and everything like that. But at the end of the day, it's do you have users, and if your user base growing, then that's what's going to help your project long term, right? And then the project is done, but the people in the community are building stuff on top of it themselves because they want to. And I've seen sort of the same thing with Decentraland, and then a bunch of the area when you have a bunch of creative people building and stuff on top of a project, it explodes because they invite their friends and everyone else. And that's how like Bitcoin started as well. You know, like it was just people mining on a computer, and then there was an entire mining tour of the house. But yeah, there was that's how kind of Bitcoin started, was just a bunch of miners that got together essentially and started talking to each other on forums, and they created the Bitcoin community, and then from there it expanded into like what it is now. And then that's kind of what it is, you know. It's as long as your community is not toxic and you guys are growing and helping each other, that's the long-term value. It really is. Yeah, because people give. Yeah, go ahead.
Not to gang up on NerdGrl anymore, but we got another regular coffees here.
Hey guys.
So you guys know that I can't hear or see Litecoin Moses, right?
You can't hear
him? Oh,
him?
you can't?
No.
Oh, jeez.
No.
Oh, man.
Are you on mobile? Are you on mobile?
Yeah, no, I'm not on mobile.
Oh, do you want
Litecoin, when he comes on mobile, sometimes it happens.
Do you want to come out really quick,
Yeah,
Litecoin? Sorry. You're like, I don't know what's happening.
I'm like just hoping that...
Sorry. Yeah, we were just listening to him.
What up, Coffee?
Yeah. Hey, guys. And hey, NerdGrl, thanks for coming.
Can you hear Crypto Coffee?
Can you hear me all right?
I cannot, no.
You can't hear him either? You might have to log out and then come back in, NerdGrl.
Okay,
it might be you.
Okay, I'm going to log out and then back in.
Yeah, just log out and come back in.
That link.
Okay.
Hey, can you see me now?
Well, I think it was on her end. I think it was on her end.
I think it was on her end.
Okay.
Yeah. She was...
Oh my God, that whole spiel now.
She's probably like,
God damn it.
So what are you guys talking about?
Oh.
The chat room's already going wild. Stone Cold Fox. And
oh my God.
Poor NerdGrl.
That's hilarious.
All right, let's bring her up. There. Now, how about now? Can you see all of us?
Now I can see all of you, yeah.
There we go.
I'm just like...
So you missed Litecoin's whole rant, or?
Yeah.
That's okay.
He was on one too, and he hasn't been able to say a word yet.
Yeah, I just wanted to say hi and thanks for coming, NerdGrl, and thanks for making an attempt to try to understand the project. I feel like this whole conversation, we get really excited when we talk about Hex, so we want to go in a million different directions.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've been getting away from your original questions, so I wanted to get back and see if we can answer.
Well, bring us back in, Coffee.
Couple of your
actual
questions. So
yeah.
I think where you left off was, what if price goes down, essentially? Was that the question?
Well, no. So it wasn't what if the price goes down.
Happen?
It was like, if there's a promise of, dividend returns, well, what good is the dividend if the price of the overall project goes down? So like, let's say, I can earn 100% return on my Bitcoin,
right.
But Bitcoin is, decreasing in value. So regardless of how much Bitcoin I'm earning, my dollar value is still, not increasing. So my question was about how that relates to Hex, or how that relates to, criticism of Hex.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a pretty good parallel to make with Bitcoin too. Like, what if you have your Bitcoin in a third-party service like BlockFi that pays you 6% interest? Well, what if the price of Bitcoin goes down? What if the price of Hex goes down? Obviously, you lose dollar value, but you don't really lose any Hex. So as long as you believe in the project long term, I guess the basic concept is like, what if the price goes down in anything? Well, obviously, you should know that's the risk you're getting into when you're buying these cryptocurrencies. Anything can go down and up really drastically. I mean, this is cryptocurrency, and so everything's really volatile. So I think if you're going to get into this at all, everybody should be aware of the risks of every coin, including Hex, rising and falling in US dollar value. But I think our community is kind of like, we decouple the idea of dollars and Hex because we want mass adoption for Hex. So we just like having Hex because we want mass adoption. We want the price to go up, but we really like the project too. So I feel like everybody that's in the community that I've met is okay with the risk of it going down, but you're absolutely right. That is always a risk of any currency.
Yeah.
Is that they can all drop a lot. So,
I mean, I guess part of the question is that risk higher when, there is one entity that, you know, controls more than close to 50% of the total liquidity of the project. So
Yeah.
we've like kind of addressed a lot, like, you know, Hexo and RG3 have addressed that kind of.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely a risk. I'm not denying that at all. But if you look at the top 10 cryptocurrencies and you know, things like Ripple, everyone loves to make Ripple the example, but Ethereum too, and even Tezos, where a lot of the coins are locked up in a foundation by just a few people. And those are the top 10 most valuable cryptocurrencies. I mean, even in Bitcoin, you've got 42% of all Bitcoin is owned by less than 1,000 addresses, which is still highly more economically decentralized than a lot of the other currencies out there.
Yeah.
But over time, that economic centralization tends to disperse to more people. So at the beginning of a project, it actually does help to have a lot of the economic centralization in a few parties, because you want those strong hands that, you know, we think won't sell, and we hope, you know, don't dump on everybody's head. But again, that's always a risk. So everybody should know that, yeah, it's possible. We like Hex enough, and we don't think it's going to happen.
Do you think that it's useful for someone to be like a Hex maximalist? Is maximalism a thing within the Hex community?
No, I'm probably the biggest proponent, and I'm not a Hex maximalist. Like I like Litecoin Moses. He's like, you know, I like that he likes Litecoin, and I like that he likes Decentraland, and I'm not like, no, you cannot talk about your little Litecoin speak here, kind of like the Bitcoin guys. Like, I'm like, no, that's a scam, bro. That's a scam. Litecoin is, you know, like I haven't seen that in any of the community yet. Like, I'm sure maybe one day, one day in 5 or 10 years, like we get some Hex maximalists.
Couple of months.
Maybe a couple months. But yeah, I haven't seen like somebody being just you know, for staking coins, I could see like somebody saying that, because we do have some fundamentals behind the Hex, you know, but there's also, you know, like, I don't know, comparatively to other staking coins, I think we're probably the best, but not, you know, that doesn't mean that we're not, you know, I admire that Litecoin Moses. If you guys want to, or if you want to know a lot about different altcoins, Litecoin Moses is your man to talk about. He knows everything about every single different project, and it's like, okay, so he knows, he's pretty, you know, and I think that's fine. No maxis here, I think. No Hex maxis.
I'm a crypto pirate, and I'm like I've got such a bad taste in my mouth for crypto until Hex came out. That may be why I feel like a maximalist, because I honestly, being in crypto as long as I have been and watching it develop and watching the shit that Bitcoin really is. And I just say that because I don't think that any technology group of people should be looking at old technology and calling it great, because there's been nothing done to Bitcoin in 10 years that makes it any better. If this was any other software company, they'd be laughed out of any community, because there's technologies just don't sit stagnant, and it's sitting stagnant. So that's what that boggles my mind, is that we are all supposed to be tech people, right? We're all supposed to be cutting edge technology people, and we're sitting here shilling one of the oldest pieces of tech that this whole space has. And it's Bitcoin. And I'm sorry to say that. And Bitcoin is the king, and it's the marketing wonder, and it has brought crypto to the world and all that. I don't take any of that away from Bitcoin. Not at all. I love Bitcoin for what it is. And what it is just a place in my heart anymore, because it's not a technology. It's not a crypto for the world. It is not a piece of money. It's not going to change anything. Look at our market cap of the whole crypto sphere. It's barely $240 billion. That doesn't mean shit from the rest of the world when it comes to, you know, the size of any type of entity that has a financial worth in the world. So get off of that. You got to find something better. And that's what I found in Hex. And that's why I might seem like a maximalist, because everything else out there to me is shit until I actually saw the Hex project. And when I saw what it did, and I saw the fact that it was built to go to develop itself and to grow, I was like, you can't stop that. That's what crypto should have been. Now, the value of it is based on adoption and based on the community, like Coffee said. It's based on who puts value into it. Now, if you have something that just multiplies and develops.
RG3, sorry to cut you off, but I think what a lot of people don't like hearing is that price is really the only thing that matters for adoption. People only want to buy this
Yeah.
stuff if they think it's going to go up in price. People talk about utility all day long, like, oh, Hex has no utility. None of these currencies really have any utility. Nobody in the real world is actually using any of this shit. So we like to talk about utility, but you're not going to get utility until you get adoption. And I think that's one of the fundamental things that people that are in Hex actually admit to themselves that a lot of other communities don't admit. They want to, they put utility first, but really you don't get utility. No one's going to use Hex as a currency. No one's going to use Bitcoin to pay for anything until it comes to a point where it stops being so volatile, and until it stops, Bitcoin dropped 50% in a day in February. No one's going to use it for anything real. And so you need people to buy it and to mass adopt it first. And adoption equals price increase. It's a direct measurement of adoption. It's actual proof that people have bought it and that they're not selling it. So that's just our take on it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was my rant. My pirate rant.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. RG3 is a lot more
crypto
passionate
pirate
than
rant.
me.
Very
So I only
passionate
have
man.
one more question for today, and then I think I need to formulate some more questions and do some more research. But here's my last question. You said that it's the only thing in crypto that has got you excited, and as long as you've been involved. So what does that mean? Like, Hex is built on Ethereum.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean it has to stay on Ethereum. It was built on Ethereum because of the advantages of Ethereum, because of the bug bounty programs, because of the simplicity of moving that crypto around on the Ethereum blockchain. So it needed a platform to sit on versus building its own platform. So it makes Hex more efficient. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't move Hex onto another platform. It could be forklifted off and put onto another platform if Ethereum doesn't work out. If it's for some reason we have to move it, we can move it. Hex doesn't change. It just may need another platform to operate, and that's all.
Okay.
And I mean,
But
Ethereum's
that platform.
number
It's
2,
got-
right?
It's got the most developers on it. It's got the most eyeballs on it.
Yeah.
Least
It gives us the
likely
most
to have a
security.
critical failure. Yeah. Yeah.
Uniswap
You can't build on-
exchange, the only DeFi exchange that's out there. I mean,
and
all
you can't
these
build
things.
things on top of Bitcoin either. So it's got to be built on Ethereum or become its own blockchain. But that doesn't really work so well because then you have the issue of you need a bunch of miners or a network of nodes. And that's really hard to bootstrap a whole network of nodes. So we're using what Ethereum's already given us, which is a great decentralized network and a really good platform to build smart contracts on top of. And we're building a great project on top of that. The community's building it. Richard Hart made the thing, but now we don't expect anything else from him. And so it's really up to us.
Yeah, we're building the community. He has nothing to do with what we're doing.
Got it. Okay.
And
Cool.
Ethereum made that possible for us to be able to do all
It's
these
really
things.
hard for people to
No, I mean,
believe-
I understand
Not-
the being
not you,
built on
not-
Ethereum,
yeah.
and I don't have an issue with. I mean, Ethereum's been my favorite project since I got into this whole crypto
Right.
thing. So my question specifically was about why Hex is exciting, where Ethereum was not exciting, specifically because of what RG3 had just said. But I think that the question has been answered.
I think
Yeah.
like for Ethereum's like the computer, and or Hex is like the computer program that's built on top of it. So you build a computer, which is Ethereum, and then you have to have programs to run on top of it, or it's not useless, but that's what it was built for. The computer
Good
is
way to put it.
there.
It's like
And
what Richard
Hex is
told
the
me.
first computer program that is actually complete. Like we're the solitaire or whatever you want to say that we're the
JK,
first,
did
that
you see
you can
Richard?
actually use. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see Richard's answer to
JK?
JK Rawlings yesterday?
Yeah.
He said
Yeah.
it's programmed money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's programmed money. Like we're just the
ETH is
computer
programmable
program.
money. Hex is programmed money.
Yeah,
No, not programmable,
So
programmed.
it's done.
Yeah.
That's the key. It's done.
Yeah.
It's there. It's happening. It's growing baby Hex
exciting.
every day.
Yeah, it's real adoption from a real organic community that
Yeah.
that believes in the idea of why crypto was created.
Yeah, and if you build a programmable money, or if you're wanting to build a programmable system, like the first thing that you should program on it is interest. Like, why wouldn't you program that on it the first? Because that's, if you look at your bank, that's the number 2 or 3 most used thing that you go to your bank for, other than like a checking and savings account. Yeah. Which is a time deposit, which is what Hex is the first crypto time deposit.
Yeah. So. Was that your last question?
Yeah, I mean, for now, I definitely have some more reading and research to do, and I'd like to ask you questions again at some point.
Yeah.
Well, we'd love to have you back on. The community is obviously going crazy about you. I've seen some comments in there. And I knew that was coming. But
if you also have any questions, just hit us up. I don't know if you have Telegram. Just hit us up on Telegram or Hex. What is it? T.me /
She's on Twitter a lot.
Or Twitter. Yeah, you can hit us up on Twitter. If you don't want to come back on the show, you don't have to.
Yeah,
you can ask us wherever. But yeah,
but sure. We'd like to follow up, and we'd like to also see if we can get you on when we do our women's show, because we want to talk about women in crypto. We want to talk about your guys' opinion of it and why you guys are involved. And because it's you guys and your faces and you showing that is going to give more women the courage to get involved, because mass adoption is going to take all of us. It's going to take men. It's going to take women. It's going to take young. It's going to take old. It's going to take all of us getting together, talking about these things, talking about crypto, bringing it to everybody's attention so that they can get involved. And of course, I mean, there's a whole bunch of issues involved, walleting, onboarding, all that stuff that's got to be taken care of first. But putting the community together and getting different faces other than us, like gamer type guys or tech guys or whatever on the YouTubes is important. So thanks for coming on with us. If you want to stick around, because we've got another. You might want to just stick around a little bit just to see our next guest that's coming up with us.
Who is it?
Steph from HEX.Live is on. So he has built. So thanks, Nerd Girl, for coming on with us. But feel free to hang out and ask questions.
Okay, my computer is gonna die, but
so the next cat that we're bringing on is Steph, and Steph has built a website called HEX.Live. If you haven't gone there, we're gonna link it and get everybody on it. I mean, probably everybody in Hex already is on it, because it is the freaking double throwdown trick of the week, badass website that's out there. So without any more chilling, I'm going to bring him up right now. Let's see here. Yo, what up, Steph?
Hey, man.
How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
We can't hear you, bro. Let's see.
I got
you muted. Hold on a second.
You're muted.
No, you muted him again. There you go.
Hey.
All right, you're good, man.
Yeah.
Yo, what up, Steph?
People on the button. Hey, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
So I think we just confused the hell out of Nerd Girl with the whole sharing.
No, I can't see or hear him. It's the same.
You can't hear him again?
Yeah.
Oh, you're having.
Oh
yeah, you'd have to come out and then come back in again. I think you know.
Okay.
All right. How about I just go and then watch this? Do I watch this on StreamYard?
Yeah,
no, it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
All right, awesome. All right, I'll follow the link. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for coming, Nerd Girl. We'll see you again.
Bye.
Bye. Yo, okay, Steph, you got the floor.
Can I share my screen really quick?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, dude.
Hold on. Let's see.
My epic spiel on no ears, like literally.
There we go. Put it up there.
Yeah, she started walking around your house. And,
I was like,
what the hell is that?
Are you listening?
Oh man yells at Bitcoin.
Fucking.
That was a pretty epic rant, though. I think your RG3 is more heated than anyone else.
Yeah, I know. All right, there you go. That's all I wanted to show.
All right.
Have you guys seen the old man yells at cloud meme?
Dude, like, all that matters in crypto is your community of your coin. That's all that matters. I mean, if you have to choose one thing out of all the 4 things in the world,
people need to buy it.
Exactly.
People need to own it.
What happened to Steph?
He probably couldn't hear us. Maybe he had
really
she dropped out.
There he is.
If people don't buy it, price doesn't go up, and that's literally all adoption is. It's really, really simple.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, I've talked to a bunch of people in the crypto community and stuff, and like half the people in coins are just so pigeonholed on their one currency, and they're so afraid to say anything No. What we're doing here is we're building this up to do this and this. But why? What's the square root of the entire thing? Well, yeah, I'm just trying to get the price to go up.
You need people. Yeah, it's the chicken and egg problem. Like you can build the greatest thing in the world, but if no one comes to use it, then what's the point? So
yeah, exactly. Which is why I think the referral program, so you know, it's so powerful and
I hope somebody builds a continuation referral program. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Sweating like a preacher over here.
I mean, the one thing that I find so awesome about Hex is that it's programmed to make more Hex. Period. It makes more Hex. So whether the price goes up or down, you're still getting more Hex.
Yeah.
You know, it's automatic.
Yeah.
It's automatic. You're making more Hex. You get in Hex, you're making more Hex. Period. End of story. I'm not saying you're making more money.
Right.
I'm not saying you're making better value, but you're making more Hex.
Yep.
And
some people are losing their Hex.
What's that?
They're emergency.
We've seen some accounts being nuked.
The stupid fuckers that are out there, they're losing Hex. That's for sure.
I feel bad for them, but then it's like, dang, dude. Like, I saw somebody like sent the guy that nuked his account like 5 or 1,000 Hex yesterday. I'm just like, don't do that. They're just gonna nuke that, man. Why would you give them more Hex?
They're gonna nuke that.
They're just
too.
gonna be like, well, I got more. I'm just gonna nuke that for now. Yeah, it's I don't know. Just I mean, I should feel bad for him, but at this point, it's just like, you didn't do your own research, man. That's your own fault, I guess, at this point.
I think what happens is they get sucked into listening to FUD, and there's some pretty convincing FUD out there. People are like, hey, man, come over here. I got something to tell you. I got something to show you. And they show you like an article that you might not have seen before. Or they show you like proof of recycling. And you're like, oh, no, I got to get out of here.
I gotta go. The buyer's remorse sets in.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not denying that. But if you were smart, you'd realize it's amazing for the project.
Hey, you know what? So we're all sitting here yapping, but the channel is so that we can get to know new folks. Steph,
ignoring him.
Tell us who you are, bro. Because you are like one of the most important. I'm gonna say you're one of the most important guys in Hex. You make my morning exciting, because when I fucking get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I check my HEX.Live, and I could see my little dollar amount go up. I could see everything. I could see my little. The freaking fireworks were the best. It's like as soon as I open it up, it's 100x plus, and it's like splashing all over the place. Tell us who you are, bro.
I think this is. Thank you for the encouragement. I think it's more of a team effort in the sense that you guys are out there just spreading the good word. So I think everybody in their own capacity of trying to talk about Hex, make it more simple for everybody to engage with the product or the smart contract. And I'm just doing my part. It just started like about 2 months and a half. I was actually wondering how I could get more information about my own investments in Hex, and I was not satisfied with whatever was out there. So I said, okay, I'm gonna build something that is useful, friendly, easy to look at, as a fairly fresh prices. And especially it started just, I think it was a few days after on CoinGecko, it's a big price blip because it's had some API issue. And I said to myself, well, I don't know, there's no one giving any reliable data about the price. I'm gonna just learn about blockchain and how to create a smart contract. And this is how HEX.Live started.
When did you get in Hex? Like, when was your first? How did you hear about it? And when did you get in? I guess is like what I usually like to hear about.
So the first time I came across Richard was in the summer of 2017. I think he used to be a guest in Bitcoin shows. It was called the Crypto News World or something like that on
Crypto World Network.
Network. And the Tone was there, Jamison was there, and I think Richard was there a couple of times. And so I started following him at that point. And so since then, I think he's been I think on the crypto sphere a big voice a lot. So I've just been following a couple of these, not everything, but from time to time. When he announced his first crypto project, I think it was the CFD token for computational fluid dynamics, I was a bit skeptical about where it could go, who would want to buy these things, but I kind of like the idea, but I didn't believe that it would go anywhere. And a few months later, it kind of dropped. I guess it was kind of team issue, and they could not pull it through. And then it came back with something new, Bitcoin X first, and then I rebranded to Hex. And then I actually started accumulating more Bitcoin because I heard about the smart contract and the free claims. So I started accumulating more Bitcoin at that point. And I started getting in January, so at fairly reasonable prices.
Okay. Nice, dude. Nice. Got in. It's a pretty good time to get in, right? It was.
I was just
like the best.
Before moving in, I just wanted to make sure I understood the smart, because I'm a software engineer by training. I just reviewed the roughly 2,000 line of codes of Solidity and tried to make sense of it. Could there be any loophole, looking at the technical audits and the economical audits? And then I said, well, I got a bit of money on the side. Just let's make a move, and I'm pleased I did.
Right.
So you're a crypto OG too, like just crypto in general.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in, so I currently work for Google in New York. So when you are in the tech sphere, I think you're very likely to come across someone that is just doing cryptographics related stuff, or that has been mining, or whatever it may be, right? Because the first few people that were running nodes, I think, unless you're running you own EXE, you may want to have specific infrastructure, so it's a bit nerdy as a way to interact with a new financial product. So I came across it just because of colleagues mentioning it in 2013. I first purchased Bitcoin at the low in the summer 2015. The local low there at $300, and that was my first investment ever in anything. Because I'm French, and in France we don't have the same relationship with money investment that you have in the US. And but I was really happy because I put some money in at $300 per Bitcoin, and I doubled my money, and I sold all my Bitcoin. I had 60 Bitcoins. So I felt so bad. I felt so bad like 2 years later when things I exploded. But it's a good lesson because I still made money, and I learned a bit more. I learned a bit more about how you position yourself, when to take profit. So it was a good lesson because even if I left being a bit bitter, it just taught me a bit more about positioning myself in the market.
Here's something
Hex is full of learning experience, guys, isn't it?
Yeah. Totally. One thing that's also kind of weird for people to hear is that if you really believe in cryptocurrency, if you really want a global financial revolution and like fuck the banks, take the power back, own your own money, be your own bank, you will never ever sell crypto ever. You'll just hold it until it becomes what you use to pay for coffee. But I mean, I've sold shit before. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not some holy like fucking Mother Teresa or anything. But that's really what you got to do if you want this thing to work. It only works if people believe in it. And the only way you really believe in it or prove that you believe in it is if you never ever sell. So Hex was designed to never sell, and people get all butthurt about it. Like, oh, when am I going to exit? It's like, no, that's not the question. The question is, when does Hex take over the world?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's so many incentives in the smart contract to actually make you lock your fund and not unlock them, as it's happening for all users, staking coins. I even call it like, it's not proof of stake, but proof of strong stake, in a sense that if you unstake, you get heavily penalized for that. So I think that the introduction of penalties in the smart contract was the single most impactful feature of the Hex smart contract. And my understanding is that you're gonna see a lot of other coins they're going to start implementing these kind of features because obviously it has value. The very reason why Hex is increasing and appreciating in price is because you have some visibility on the future supply, and this is new. So that's why I like the project.
Yeah, it's global too. I mean, we've got people all over the world that have bought Hex.
Mm-hmm.
It's really incredible.
You must be like a
Yeah.
professional trader because you caught that dip last night. Yeah, we were all.
Oh,
he
there's
was on
another
my
one
live
happening
stream last
right
night.
now. If you guys look,
Yeah.
He was on my
So
live
we
stream
sta-
last night, and it went down, and you could see it start wicking up, and Steph's like, "Yeah, I bought it, guys," and it was just like right after that, it starts going right back up, and it was
Yeah.
like, "Oh damn,
Yeah.
oh, damn it!"
So
I
don't
got like a 10% move right there too.
I don't have much Hex liquid, so I think at this point I'm fully staked really because I bought back in and then I staked some of the I had on the side for actually 55 5,555 days. So this 4 or 5 that's what I did this morning. So
hey, we just hit 100 viewers for the first time.
Woo.
Oh, that's great! Congrats.
Hey, cool.
No, I started to learn how to trade in 2016 when I arrived in the US because I am currently living in New York, and so learning about how to reading a balance sheet, the fundamentals of reading any company's statements, as well as some technicals. So at least how to enter a trade, maybe at not the worst point in time. So just validating with technicals, but I'm more like a fundamental person. But from time to time, you like to play and gamble a bit with the bit of money that you have. So
Yeah.
So
what
tell
else
us a
did
little
you
bit
do
about what
in-
your dev background.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was going to ask anyway.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Works a
The
Google.
chat room's
so-
telling me to talk over you to try and get a word in.
Sorry, yeah, I'm getting too crazy.
You were going off on shares. And I was like, I saw her eyes glaze over.
I
was
know.
like,
I was like, this is pretty advanced, but yeah, never mind.
you get a passionate
like-
community.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's
let me
my-
tell you
it's my bad.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, let me just go ahead and
Yeah.
throw this at you, and you tell me what you understand. 'Cause, yeah,
Freaking
Yeah.
0331.
yeah. That's funny.
There,
All right,
there are
go
so
ahead,
many
Steph.
secret hex investors.
Oh,
in
Nobody
the
wants
crypto-
to
Oh,
admit
there's
it.
a bunch. Of
No one
closeted
wants to
ones.
admit it.
That's a
I got-
conspiracy I like. I like that.
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
yeah, the more hey, to be fair,
14,000.
the more and more I hear from friends and friends of friends that someone got in Hex, and so I'm feeling that there's like underground movements of people just buying it up. So
Don't tell anyone.
yeah, yeah.
It's naughty. You're a naughty,
It's a naughty
coin.
You're a naughty coin.
So
Naughty coin.
So I was really surprised about the 4 people I learned about that are in Hex because they were talking mad shit about Hex in other communities that I'm in, right? And when we had the gigantic pump up to about like half a penny, now their whole tune's changed. Like, oh, Hex is like Hex is pretty good.
Cointelegraph.
Yeah.
You see that
Yeah.
Cointelegraph article?
Yeah,
Yeah, that guy sounds like he bought some Hex and now he's trying
Yeah.
to change the public perception. Like
yeah.
Hex
Yeah,
could be a
and people
scam. We're not sure.
It's gonna
their
happen.
left link. So.
It's gonna
Yeah.
happen. They're gonna change their tune.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, oh, I was never saying anything bad of Hex. We'll even have Peter McCormick's dumbass saying something like that one day. Oh, I was just joking. It was you couldn't take a joke.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that guy, man.
Bunga bunga.
I can't
watching
wait.
it this morning.
I cannot wait for the day of like a large crypto YouTubers, like let's say
Yeah.
Ivan Tech or Daladash, starting to shield their ref link to get more
Yeah.
heads. I mean, it's happened.
Or maybe
Go
Before
ahead and click the
the
ref
end of
link down
November,
below.
that'd be fantastic.
Hexologist is going to be the next big YouTuber then.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
There we go.
man. You're going to live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah. People are gonna be like,
I'm sorry,
Hexologist.
guys. Sorry.
I'll give you 100,000 hex for a retweet, please. Please.
How many subscribers do you have, Hexologist?
2,400.
Fuck.
You.
Yeah.
Nice.
There we
I
go.
got like 4,000 views on one of my videos.
Oh,
just
the
the
John
other day.
McAfee one?
We got
Oh,
we got
the
2,000. We've only been running.
That one. It was
We've
like
only
the
been running for a couple of weeks.
logo.
Oh,
You got to get real clickbaity with the titles.
We got over
Yeah.
2,000
You told me
views
that.
on the
Yeah.
what's his name? Oh, shoot, Dev Kyle's show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And
It was
this
a good
thing's only a couple weeks old.
yeah.
Crypto Cops
5
has been
months.
killing it with the thumbnails, man.
Me?
Yeah, your thumbnails
Well,
are insane.
I finally
dude.
learned what Hex. I started copying what Hexologist does, and it's like, oh, this shit works, man. You call Hex is a scam.
I'm gonna have to put
Exposed.
some on the syndicates thumbnails. I just put the same one up every
I
week.
sold all my hex. Why?
I tried to keep it going. Too. I tried to, like in the beginning of the video, I was like, oh, it's going to be really hard for me, guys. I don't know if I can do this. And I couldn't keep the charade up, though. I should do a whole video where, like, I just, troll the entire video.
Just cry the whole time.
Yeah.
Like people don't get it. Sometimes the trolls, like it just goes right over their head, like the trolling, because
A
they
lot of
like
times they don't even watch the video.
yeah,
they-
well, yeah. And they're like, see, I told you it was a scam. This guy did a video. I told you.
Did you click it? Fucking idiot.
Yeah, like somebody posted on Twitter the that one the Richard with the devil horns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at this.
Look at what happened. Look, you guys got into this scam. They posted that article. I was just
I
like,
love that one.
guys.
Hey, I fell for that one when I first got into the chat channel. I fell for that one. I was looking at it and going, wow, this is like ridiculous. And I read it too, but I'm just that dumb.
My favorite's the Richard one. When
I'm
he's in, like,
sorry,
Dr.
man.
Evil. He's on the Dr. Evil table.
Oh yeah.
The layer.
Yeah.
All right, so back to Steph. Steph, tell us a little bit about your dev background, your website development background. What inspired you to make? Because, dude, the visually, you've got like visuals like nobody's business. You've made that thing so damn pretty. The colors, I mean, everything. The chart's the best looking damn chart I've ever seen.
Yeah, so I just don't want to bore everyone with my life, but I've got software engineering background, so I study robotics and ML in Germany, in the UK, and then soon after graduating, I started working for HP Software in the ML division, and for Google, and I've been working for Google for about now 6 years. I'm not doing any development for them, but a bit more like strategy, product, operations, management. I've been involved a lot in like privacy and data protections for the company. So if your data is relatively safe with Google, it's thanks to me. So.
Well, thank you. That's so awesome that there's like mainstream big tech people that are in crypto, that are in Hex too, because and that we're not afraid to just come out and show our faces like a lot of these guys with a frog as their background. So you got a Google employee. I don't know if you guys are
Kyle. I think Kyle was working for Microsoft and Netflix as well. So that's great.
Or something like that.
I think Netflix. He told me
Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix.
Maybe Amazon too. I don't know.
That was a cool dude, man.
Ivan said this morning, so Hexman just chatted. Ivan said this morning that he doesn't think that Hex is a scam.
Yes.
Ivan's our boy. He's gonna
And
be
that's
the
how it's
first
going to
one.
happen. They're going to start saying, well, it's not really a scam, but I don't like Richard.
Ivan was always in it from the beginning. Ivan is friends with Richard. Like he just had to act like it was a controversy. Remember when they did that head-to-head thing? It wasn't even head-to-head. They were just agreeing on shit. But it was
those head-to-heads they've done are just weak. I mean, the one that they did with Tone and Richard that one was weak too. It's just like
and his shorts are fabulous. For real, he has some stylish ass European, man. You see the little booties he put on with the socks and the short shorts.
Fucking marble gargler, man. That guy.
He's cool though.
Exo does the best impersonation of Tone.
Do it.
Institutional investors coming in. Yeah. So Steph,
Steph,
I don't know, like, no expectations. What are you like? With the site and everything. What's your outlook on the site? What are you
Any new plans?
That you want to give out? Like, I don't want you to have to say it if you don't want to give out the, some.
I don't want to reveal too much, but it started about 2 months and a half as a kind of startup project, just something for myself as a prototype. And when I published it and shared it on the Telegram group, I think the first evening I got more than 100 people like visiting. 2 weeks later, I had 1,000 people have ever visited the site, and 2 months in, I got about 15,000 unique visitors for the site.
Wow.
So this thing is exploding. I mean, I'm having a lot of traffic. So I'm paying a lot for server costs and everything. So that's the testimony. And maybe it's just echoing what RG3 just said around design and simplicity, and try to provide something that is easily accessible for people. That things works. Like if you're simple and fast, people like it. So my plan for the future is just to go further. So right now, Hex.Live is just kind of just a front end for exposing the data that we currently have in the smart contract, right? But I think the ambitions is to create the best platform to get and manage your Hex. That's the ambitions. I got a few things in the works right now, so I can't reveal too much, but it's very, very exciting. So yeah, a couple of like a new very interesting features, as well as a couple of smart contracts. I'm not creating any tokens, but I really want to expand the capabilities of the Hex smart contract, because there's few things that it does really well. And I coined the term like Hex is a commitment platform. So engage you in time and for the long term. And I think there's a lot of different applications that could be built on top of that, and making the Hex ecosystem much stronger. So I've got a couple of exciting ideas. I'll share them privately with a couple of our friends and folks around. And so stay tuned. I think in a couple of weeks, you're going to be surprised.
Ooh, cool. Some expectations coming up.
Where do I put my
expectations?
Hey, so the community out there, Steph's done this out of the goodness of his own heart. So donate to him. Click on his link on the site whenever you can. Whenever you go in the AA and you get a chance, click on his link and use it to because he doesn't get paid for it. It's a community development thing. And the man has put some serious work into it. And what I like is, when you first came out, it was like, oh, wow, this is the most visually stunning application that we have out there. And then you just immediately, you were piling new pieces onto it, and it was growing and getting better and better. And it was like, before you do it, it was just morphed. It was awesome.
Yeah, I try to be as proactive as possible. So I don't have like much time, because I'm actually working a very small project like Google Startup Live, so I'm very involved with that work itself. So Hex.Live has been built, a couple of my evenings and weekends. Obviously, in the US, there was shelter in place in the past 2 months, so it's been easy not to be distracted going out or doing some fun things. So the timing was kind of perfect for me. It's just like a new project, learning about blockchain, contributing to the Hex ecosystem, and anytime someone is mentioning in Hex.Live something's not working, some things are, for someone out of touch, not working specific on mobile or on specific browser, I try to look into it. If people have ideas about features, I recently created a Telegram group for discussing about Hex.Live and the kind of features we'd like to see in the future. When we broke the 100x ROI for USD, we are all excited in the chat, and someone was putting some fireworks. Even it could have been myself. And I told myself, oh, why would it take just to add that to the UI? And 15 minutes later, I was pushing some codes and deploying the new version of the website with the little fireworks. So
I freaking love
it. I tend to go fast, and when there's like fun ideas, anything that could make your experience with Hex not boring financial product, right, I'll try to put that in, because I think it will make more people engage and more people willing to share it. Say, hey, this is easy, this is fun. So that's my goal. Yeah, the best and most entertaining platform for managing your Hex.
Yeah, there's nothing better than seeing those fireworks when you open up your computer and you log in and you're like, yeah, we're over 100x again.
And that's why I like, Steph and you, like, and pretty much like all of the Hex guys. It's like there's a group in the Telegram where it's just like if you want something that's put on, on your platform, Hex.Live, it's like all you have to do is message you. It's not like we have to go and ask, and any other coin. It's like you got to go ask the founders, which you never talk to those guys in the world. You can't go and ask those guys to change their website to something that you like or a good idea that you have, because you never be able to talk to them. But it's like with the community where it's like, we can ask you, or we can ask Richard, hey, this is a good idea. Like the calendar on go.hex.win, like how we
Yeah.
needed the calendar for so long, and it's like you didn't have that, and finally we got it put in, and it was like, it's because we can actually talk with the founder of things that we want, or of like, hey, this is a good idea, and then fit, like you said, 50 minutes later you put in little fireworks, and it's so awesome that
it may not be like that in the future.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that it'll always
Right now we're
continue.
so small, that it's, we all know each other by name. We talk to each other every day. We see each other in the chat rooms and stuff. We can get on Discord with people and all that. But man, in the future, it's going to be, this thing gets so big that it's not.
Yeah, I think
possible.
right now we're at a stage where we are just building the foundation of this new story that Hex is, and I'm picking like people coming on board, buying the narrative that we're putting together. And I think your first question was good job with Hex, but I say good job to you guys, because I think it's really a team effort. I see whenever I had an issue or had a question, the community is really responsive. So we have a Hex dev group, and everybody's there is trying to be helpful. For 3 weeks after launching X.Live, my referral link was not working properly. And kudos to Hexologist and Swift Salamander that say, hey, Steph, you're missing a slash there. So I should have checked it myself, right? And I did not do that, but
I felt bad for that one. I was like, oh no, you didn't have the slash in there. You didn't have the slash. The referral link wasn't working for how long was it? About 2 weeks?
About 3 weeks, yeah.
Oh, 3 weeks, yeah.
When the
I did the same thing. Don't worry, I did the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. My first 2 weeks, mine didn't have the question mark in there, and I for the first I had 60 or 70 people at the first, the very first couple of weeks, when I probably would have gotten the most referrals. So I didn't get any of those referrals. It just went to, so yeah, don't worry, we've all done it.
So there's something going on in the chat room that and even myself, I know it's all right, but every time I connect or a site asks me to connect my MetaMask wallet to it, you always feel a little weird, but maybe Steph, you can explain that technically, why it's safe. Why is it safe for anybody to open up your website and hook their MetaMask to it? Is there something that you can tell us as a dev that can ease everybody's mind as far as doing that?
Yes, that's a good question. So I should do a bit more research to give something accurate, but my reading of it when I started building the site, and especially going through the thread of people building and on top of different wallets, the Trust wallet, the Coinbase wallet, and MetaMask, especially for MetaMask, they started adding a little pop-up, and any kind of pop-ups when interacting with the smart contract, because they don't want to be in a situation where they make it too easy for people to click a button and having some of your found or some interaction happening in the background. So they're trying to make it as explicit as possible that a website can give you some easy connection to your wallet, and that's what's happening with that connection. So the only thing that it does is just saying, hey, I'm allowing the website to call some smart contract function for you. So every time, the only thing it does is just saying, hey, I authorize that site just to call smart contract function. What happens then is anytime you click a button and the website wants to interact with the blockchain, then you got the MetaMask pop-up, right? But that's kind of another gateway on top of it, saying, hey, do you trust that website? Right?
Yeah.
So once you go to go.hex.win and then you enter your X because you want to enter the AA, or you're putting a stake in, you already vetted that you can interact with the website, and then you have another prompt to say, do you confirm the transaction, and are you willing to pay these fees, the gas fees? But it doesn't give you any specific rights or access off the bat. So that's just an additional pop-up just to let the user know that some smart contract interaction could happen.
So to make it uncomplicated for people like me, you as a developer don't have an ability to build into your website a way to hack into my wallet by me connecting it.
No, I mean you've got the keys. I don't. You don't have access to anything. The only thing that it does, like on X.Live, I implemented that connection. The only thing that it does, it just gives me it just tells me that user has a specific public key, right? So I can use that to auto populate your profile. So if you want to do that, it's kind of a shortcut for me. It's convenience. If you want to enter it manually, you can do it manually. But the only thing that it returns to me is just a public key, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right
I
on.
usually tell people if they're worried about the crypto or if they're worried about connecting their MetaMask, just you can use the Ethereum address. Just put your Ethereum address in there. It's just like showing, it's just like going on hexinfo.io and putting it in there and looking at, any other place that you can. You don't have to connect your MetaMask. It's just more of an ease of use case, connecting your MetaMask wallet.
Yeah. But again, I can give more details on it. But as far as I know, I mean, I'm using it on many other sites that support the MetaMask wallet, and I don't think there's any risk.
Okay. So you should people be like wary of actually connecting their MetaMask to any website, or is it is it dangerous to connect it to any website? Like, some scammy Russian website that you just landed on asked you to connect your MetaMask. Can it ever like take your keys or anything like that? Or So you guys should confirm and read like the MetaMask FAQ. But my understanding is just adding you another bump, like a bit of friction before doing any transaction, which anywhere will just prompt you with another dialogue saying, hey, do you want to pay the gas for that transaction? Right? Okay. Yeah.
Got it.
So it's more like a storefront than anything. It's not really, digging into your wallet. It's just more like an access point to a storefront.
Yeah, it's like saying, hey, are you sure that you want to enter that store? And once you're in the store, then you're free to go around and pick a pair of socks and then pay for the socks. And it's like when transaction occurs. But yeah,
like I totally get that it's a read-only button when you click allow in MetaMask, but is it possible for a hacker that really knows what they're doing to somehow fuck with the button to make it like give you the private keys or something? Like, could you make a fake button that when you say accept, it actually gives away all your private keys?
So
I'm wondering if it's possible.
Yeah. So your private keys are just stored by the MetaMask wallet, right? So if there's a security issue, that would be at the MetaMask level, that they're fucked up in some fashion, and they're exposing, or they have a loophole, and that can expose the private key. But it has nothing to do so much with the site. The site cannot really, the level of access that that MetaMask gives you is really nothing. It just exposed the public key of that user.
Okay.
And
MetaMask has been around. It's been around for a while. It's got a lot of people that have worked on it. Yeah. Apparently, I mean, no matter what, you have to trust some kind of software. You have to trust that MetaMask is going to work. You have to trust that Hex is going to work. But we can be pretty confident that it will, because it's been looked at by so many developers, so many eyeballs.
Yeah, and right now, so you have different options to store your keys. Like hot wallets like MetaMask or stuff that you have on your computer. You have like cold wallets, some hardware wallets. I've got a ledger as well. So you have different options, and I think you should just do a bit of reading, like what's convenient for you and what level of security do you want to have, right? So it's a spectrum, and you need to do a bit of research and pick and choose what's more convenient for you or what's more secure for you. Right.
Yeah, I guess if you really want to be safe, you do the command line wallet, but nobody wants to do that.
Terrible. So you need to be careful, because the more, if you're not an expert and you want to manage your own security yourself, you may just shoot yourself in the feet because you're losing your key, or you're not hashing your data properly. So you need to be very careful.
I love anything that makes me not have to code. So any UI, any GUI, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
Me too.
So, Steph, what's your favorite thing about Hex? Like your favorite, we'll say the pumpamental. What's your favorite pumpamental about Hex?
Yeah.
Your most favorite.
I think that's the penalties. I mentioned it earlier, but if I had to, there's many of them, obviously. But the penalties is really like the key things that makes it, I think, that gives the most value to the project at the moment, because people understand that that most people staking will have incentive not to unstake because they don't want to lose their money. Because of that, you have some sort of guarantee built in that when I put out there on the website the weighted average duration for the stake, and it's weighted by stake size.
Right.
So you have some sort of guarantee that most people will lock their coins for that much, right? And that number may not change or maybe keep evolving over time, because even if some stakes are arriving to expiration, you have some people that currently have stakes, or that we collect stakes, HEX, up until the big payday or even further, may stakes further out in the future, right? So this is a dynamic system, and even if we have some sense of what could be the future supply, we actually have no idea, because it depends in 6 months' time, how the different players are acting, right? So it's very, very interesting situation where we are, where we have some sort of idea, which is much more than what you see anywhere else in crypto. You don't know someone's gonna dump their Bitcoin or their Ethereum, but here, just because of the smart contract, you have the sense of like the level of commitment that the different users have.
Yeah, it's awesome. You bathe in the blood of the haters and the non-believers. I have a question. You don't have to answer this, but what's your average stake term? How on average, how long are you staked for? Or are you
Mine? I haven't calculated, but if I had to guess, I should calculate it. That's one of the things I want to put in the website. For any profile, you can guess the average weighted duration for your own stakes, and how do you compare to the global average, but also to people in your league. So I want to really gamify this thing to say, hey, this is where you are compared to your peers. This is how you move up. This is how you move. This is the thing that you should not do if you don't want to move down. Exposing people's trades and saying, hey, well, on average for your account, you've been trading X. Your ROI trading is that much, while staking would have gained you that much, right? This is the level of information and projection that I want to give to users. So that's not only just pure statistic about the smart contract. It's how you, as an individual, you manage your stakes in a better way. A bit like you have in Ethereum, copy trading and copy staking. I want to bring that level of insight to the user. To go back to your question, I think I'm around 4 years. If I had to guess, I'm around 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
So kind of the average globally.
Yeah, and the reason for that is when I put in my largest position stake, I did it before fully understanding all the subtleties of the smart contract. So I wanted to be able to take profit at some point in a reasonable future. But the more I learn about Hex, the more I want to stake longer stakes. And this morning I staked like 2 million Hex for about 15 years. So that's something.
I think I'm gonna do that as well. Right before big payday, I'm gonna make a video where I stake like 1 million Hex for 10 years or something. So I'm keeping a little bit liquid just to make that entertaining video. I have another question for you.
Go ahead.
Is there like a trend in different classes? So I like how you made like a class system of hexers, right? So I would expect that the oily octopuses would be a little bit shorter on average for their weighted stake length than like a whale. Is that right?
Yeah. So that was the interesting piece of putting this little league system together. It's a bit arbitrary, right? I just split different order of magnitude of like your percentage of total shares and put you in leagues and make something quite reasonable, so that I had like the top league that I call like Prosperous Poseidon, where no one could be in right now, right? You would need to get a lot of your Hex staked to be there. So even someone, I was listening to your previous guest saying that some user may have a lot of Hex there. Well, because of the way Hex is working, you can have your liquid S inflated away very rapidly if you're not staking them, right?
Yeah.
So that's a situation. That's you need to consider when you're talking about liquid X versus stake X.
Right.
And what you're seeing, what's interesting, is you're seeing across the different leagues that are put together. It's almost you can see that the people that have the most Hex tend to stake much longer on average, and the difference is very super significant.
Which is so bullish. It's such a bullish.
That is true.
The only guys that are for long are the small guys.
Yeah, so you have a couple of $100 million Hex stakes for 10 years out there. So that's driving their own average up a lot. And also, so my hypothesis is the following. So people that tend to have a lot of money, like USD, WISE, or whatever currency you're in, on average, may gain that money because of their competency or their understanding of what's happening in the world, right? So they might also be the one that have a better understanding of the smart contract and how to play the game. So that's my hypothesis from why people with the largest piece of hex tends to be the one that stick the most.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you want to be very thorough, you should have also to analyze the distribution of hex, the liquid hex. You know, how these people are playing, do they stake and go back out into liquid? That's something the next analyst to do, and that would be fascinating just to compare, you know, the dynamics that are happening in the stake hex versus liquid hex and how people are moving back and forth.
For sure.
Litecoin.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
What's going on out there in crypto, man?
Depends.
I don't know
which crypto you're
anything
talking
else.
about.
I don't look at shit anymore.
Yeah.
So
Is there anything besides?
I look to you.
Yeah.
Well, to tell you the truth, not much, but there's some gains in the wearables market in Decentraland, that's for sure. it's the only thing that's kept up with Hex in terms of gains.
The new crypto kitties.
Yeah, the new crypto kitties. Yes, sir.
I love that.
The launch shirts have gone from probably like 5 cents to like they're almost $20 right now.
Fuck.
Shit.
So it's yeah. So like I was one of the only guys, like me, Frankie Needles, and Maddie TCL Maddie, that were talking about these shirts, and I was telling people, hey, these starter items in this crypto are going to be gigantic, because you know how Richard says, like, people like lose all their life playing games. Well, people are going to play this game a lot. I can just tell from it. And
how many shirts do you have?
Yeah, pretty much.
How many shirts?
I mean, I have hundreds. Like I think I control like maybe 5-10% of the total supply.
Oh,
or so
where are the
right
shirts
now.
going? Litecoin Moses, where are the shirts going? Everybody wants to know where the shirts are going.
He's like the freaking bar. The
OA of the crypto kitties.
I'm telling you, dude. In the Discord, he's like the freaking godfather in there of the wearables.
Yeah. Eventually, my plan is to make some Hex wearables in Decentraland, which I've. Yeah, so they've just decided to like do licenses. So obviously, most people are not going to be able to get the first licenses, but eventually, within maybe at the end of the year or early next year, there's going to be a license up to actually purchase, and I'm probably going to purchase that license. So I'll be able to make my own wearables for like Litecoin, Hex, or wherever the hell I want, and then be able to sell them on the open market.
That might be the trigger that gets me into that game. If I can just walk around with a Hex shirt. You know, it would basically be like I'm pumping my bags in a virtual world.
Yeah,
dude, it's all over it.
And everybody's already
plan to
in
make
crypto
a T-shirt sort of like this, so like where the Hex logo's right here, like just behind like Hexologist, and then I'm gonna make some Hex like sunglasses, which is cool.
My son made some octagon things. He's trying to. He wants to get to you. He's making some Hex sunglasses.
Yeah, we need to make a bunch of designs.
Sorry, RG3, your son's into Hex?
Yeah. He actually he went all in with his savings like a few weeks ago, and we had a dip. Nice. And I said, "Hey, son, it's the dip." And here, Dad, get me in. He's all stoked now. He's never made so much money in his life. He's a pizza guy. He flips pizzas, you know, and he's all stoked. His buddies were trying to get him into the stock market like a few months ago, like right before Christmas. And I said, dude, stay away from that shit. So he did. And he's like, I want to get into Hex. So I got him in, and he's freaking flying. He's like, I got to have some liquid though, Dad, because, you know, the staking thing's cool and all, but I want to have some money. I'm like, okay.
There is a nice way to get more liquid Hex if you're 100% stake. You should have told him just to shield the heck of his raffling to his friends.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah. So get more liquid Hex.
I'm sure he is. He's got a ref link out there. He's been shilling it through his buddies and stuff.
That's hilarious.
But it's cool, man. I mean, it's a family event now. And he's like, hey, I watched Discourse Syndicate the other day.
Nice. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is cool. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Because back in,
So-
you know, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Wow.
Sorry.
Quit being so kind to each other. This is getting ridiculous. All the other
do you
shows,
guys,
they
do
just
you guys
talk
show
over
it?
each
Do you
other.
guys show it to your family? Like I've showed it to people in my family. Well, actually, I gave it for Christmas presents back in Christmas.
Well,
I gave it for Christmas every
Yeah,
year,
what-
every
with his-
single
with his-
December 25th.
With his
with my ref link attached.
They probably hated you.
Here's 100 hex and my ref link.
What did you do first, you asshole?
Try it out.
But yeah,
See how
on
you like
December-
it.
So every year on December 25th, for year 1, 2, 5, and 10, I have a little bit of a hex coming out for them. So just a little to nibble on. I mean, now it's worth quite a bit, but at the time it was only worth like
Now you're like
20,
rethinking,
50 bucks.
do I really want to get a steal? Or-
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to gift it to anybody because I don't trust them to not emergency unstake it. I feel like, you know, yeah, they might fuck it up. I'll give them cash when Hex goes to the moon.
Yeah.
They'll probably
That might be a
appreciate me
good
more.
idea.
Because my parents, you know, my family, they know I'm into crypto and they don't believe in it at all. Just
Yeah.
they're hard to convince, very conservative, not
Yeah.
you know, risk taker types. I'm kind of the odd one out. So
That's the way it is. The strangers will follow you. It's your own family that'll like throw you to the
I'm
wolves.
a bit guilty. I gifted it was about how much was it? 1 million hex to my sister back
nice.
mid March,
wow.
and there was a fair amount of money still back then. But then, you know, 3 weeks later, like she 10x on my gift, and so I was like, "Wow, that was a good gift, you know, I made to you." So now, I'm, you know, I think you should take me, you know.
she's probably happy as shit now.
Yeah, so
I just kept my parents' private keys. Don't worry, I have their
Good.
private keys. I ain't giving them their private keys. I'll unstake it for you.
They're like some Nigerian
You can have it. Yeah, but now you're gonna, you know, like it kind of involves them a little bit. You know, see what I've done over the year, I guess.
Yeah. Say, hey, Lyko,
Yeah,
what
if
about
you-
the happening?
For the Bitcoin happening?
Yeah, give us your update on
Yeah.
that. We haven't had you on in a couple of days.
Yeah, well, it happened, and pretty much was a non-event essentially. I mean,
Well, you
I was
weren't on Tone Base's
personally, I thought
50
we might hit,
panel?
like 12,
What's it,
14K
Bitcoin?
for the happening.
What do you mean,
but
9,800
nothing
today?
happened. Yeah,
Is it really? Oh, nice.
No joke.
it's going
Ain't
up.
no joke.
It's yeah.
The
I mean,
old
over
guy's
6
doing pretty
months-
good.
Yeah. Oh, the old guy.
Yeah.
But over the next 6 months, it's probably gonna shoot up. We're probably gonna touch like 20K in December or something, and then get a little dip down, and then probably next year is, I don't know whether it's the summer months or December months, we're gonna hit the all-time highs or something, or we're gonna break 56,000 per Bitcoin, which is like $1 trillion market cap, which is like good for Hex because it pumps the entire market full of liquidity,
rising tide.
and that's really good. Exactly, yeah.
And that trillion mark-
I want Bitcoin to pump. Yeah.
There's a mental bias towards even numbers and numbers like 1 billion, 1 trillion. So once we pass as a total market cap 1 trillion, you're going to see that's going to be a news event. I mean, people are going to pile in. People don't buy dips, people buy the tops. That's why you don't have double tops, you have breakthrough tops. So when Hex breaks through 20K, it's all fucking hell breaks loose.
Oh shit.
Well, the
I think-
total market cap of crypto only has to, like, Bitcoin just has to hit like 30, 20, or 30K or something.
Dude,
Litecoin divorced me.
why would you
What?
do that?
Well, she's pretty hot, dude. Why
She's
is she-
hot.
It's a hand.
What are
It's
you-
on a phone. It's on a phone, guys.
Every
What you guys are falling for.
for every hot girl, there's some dude tired of boning her, bro. And I just got
You
tired.
got that
of
right. You absolutely
yeah.
got that right. That's what we
Litecoin is
I wish
moving
you
to
weren't right.
dudes. Confirmed.
it. Man, dude, man, you go through enough girlfriends eventually, dude. You're just like, Jesus Christ, bro. It's the same conversations. Hey, where do you want to eat? You want? Come on, honey. And then you tell them somewhere to
I
eat.
don't care.
And then I don't care. Yeah, like let's go to the fucking Cheesecake Factory or some shit, right? They're like, I don't want to go there.
Enjoy it
Yeah.
now.
What the
Enjoy it now.
fuck?
Enjoy it now, fellas. Enjoy it now.
Oh, you guys are
Wait till you get married.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just the same thing over and over.
I'm not in a rush.
I got to be careful. I'm not going to say some of the things I want to say.
I get a little flack for this, but I still think we need females in crypto. But man, it's dangerous, bro. When they know about crypto, man, god damn, it's dangerous.
All you gotta
I
do is
know.
I saw your private
Oh.
keys the other day.
Makes me sweat.
They'll be like, digging into your computer, digging into your phone, you know, like
yeah.
getting
See
your
what you've
private
been
key.
doing with your
Like
crypto.
hey, crypto coffee. Like what's your favorite song? They're just trying to figure out your seed phrases.
Yeah, they're smart, man. They're smart.
I just saw your HEX.Live account.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
I saw where you're spending that.
Why didn't you tell me your newest Hex stake comes undone in 3 days? You know we could have got a car.
Yeah.
Why you
He lives in a shitty apartment.
Yeah.
And you're not going to Miami, fucker.
I've gone that one, dude. I've gone that one.
I've got
Oh.
that. All right.
I'm going.
Jesus
I'll see you
Christ.
guys there.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to
yeah.
go. I'm gonna really try to go.
And so, oh yeah, we haven't said it. Like, comment, and subscribe, guys, to the show. We
Smash the
appreciate
fuck
that.
out of that.
Smash it.
Subscribe.
Smash it, and use our link because every little bit people have been donating. Cool, thank you out there who've been throwing your hard-earned crypto into our donations pot. Like I said, that's going to go. Discourse Syndicate is going to put something on at Miami for everybody. So keep it coming. We appreciate it.
Topless bikini models everywhere. Just like
Jeez, yeah.
Depends how much money we get.
We just had a women's show, and you're talking about topless bikini. You're just gonna screw it up already, man. No wonder they don't want to hang out with any of us. They come into the freaking chat room and the guys blast them, or they're like DMing them and all over them like in 3 seconds. God, they need to take a shower when they leave the damn chat room.
There's probably some real simps out there too. Like, hey, if you ever want someone to teach you how to,
oh my god.
Hey, talking about Miami, do you guys know a bit more like when it will occur or some details about the organization, or it's still too early?
They're still working on that. They're not sure yet.
All of the stuff that's going on, like we don't even know.
Travel.
It might be closed down.
We order a place
Yeah,
and
that's true.
all fall through at the
I
end.
mean, it's possible we could just. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I just flew from New York to Paris last weekend, and we were at JFK, and we are the only plane leaving JFK that day or that night. There's no one. That was Ghost City.
Wow. That is insane. I didn't know it was that crazy. Was it packed? Was the plane packed, or was it just like?
No, so we had there was an Air France flight, and we had maybe about 15% of passenger French and another 15% Japanese, and the rest of the seats were empty. I think they're like a policy where every other row you had someone, so it was very empty. Yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
Yep. Hey, here's a question I want to bring up. Another little rant I have. Something. Hexology says, how are you guys planning on staking your big payday bonus? And I'm not talking about strategies, but I'm talking about just kind of a little thought I'm having as far as big payday goes, because a lot of people are talking about, there's going to be a big dump and this and that and the other. But when it comes down to it, when everybody starts to understand what shares are all about and what the value of your stakes are, what they become as you stake longer, my thought is that a lot more people are going to be seeing the value in staking at that point, and very little of their stack is going to get turned liquid. And I'm sure people are going to take profits, but I'll guarantee you, I think people that's only staked for a year or staked for a short period of time are going to go, shit, I want to extend, I'm going to make this stack bigger, so I'm going to put it out 5 years, 10 years, and put 2/3 of it out there, and maybe take 1/3 of the profits or a quarter of the profits, and then throw the rest out there for 5 and 10 years. I think we're going to see a lot of that.
Yeah.
I'm actually planning on staking the day before, like a bunch of my 1,555 days to get the best.
We should both do a video.
Big payday. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we should do like a joint video. I'll stake $1 million, you stake whatever. And,
that's what I got my liquid for. It's going to go in there.
November, because I didn't want to have them liquid. So everything that I'm accumulating throughout my referral link and everything, I'm actually putting it like the 1st of November, so I can but it's all staked right now just until the 1st, because I don't want it just sitting liquid, because it's not any hex, and I'm planning on restaking.
So short stake, yeah.
It's like a short stake, But then right before the big payday, maybe not the day before, because I'm, I don't know what I'll be doing that day before. But yeah, I'm going to plan on staking it for the entire 5,555 days just to get it like an extreme amount of shares with the big payday and all the other bonuses that'll come with it.
Yeah, that'll be a big event. I'm probably
Throw
going
a
to
fat
do
in.
something very similar. And like, if there's anything I've learned in crypto, it's if you do the thing opposite of what makes sense in your head off the top of your head, it usually works out pretty well. Just you gotta zag when everyone zigs. You gotta just be against everyone else, and that's the thing that usually works.
A contrarian.
So, yeah, which is Hex is the contrarian coin.
Yeah. Well, me and Hexologist were talking about yesterday about what was it? Like we were gonna stake some like 555 or something for the last day. So it's technically the last big payday stake at 555. So it's literally the farthest away from everybody else to get the bonus shares, to get all the shares as a percentage. Because like if you guys had seen like the stuff that what's his name did, Good Texture did, it's pretty crazy with the share price. I mean, it blew my mind.
Yeah, he's
cool. And Firebun did some really cool stuff as well, man. Like he's like really thinking the game theory out too as well. Like I'm not sure if he's doing some videos right now, but yeah, Firebun's always on top of his shit.
I ain't even going to be able to collect the 5,555.
What?
Come on,
oh, bro.
You know how old I'm going to be at that point?
What, like 40?
Give it to your kids.
Like 70 years old.
Hey, we're all gonna live forever. Haven't you heard Richard?
Yeah.
Come on, Rich.
Richard's gonna make sure we live forever.
You see what's going to suck for me though is you guys are going to come up with this anti-aging shit, and I'm going to be like 75.
Well,
So I'm kind of stuck at anti-aging at 75. So fuck it. At that point, it's like, go ahead and let me go. Leave that shit for the young folks.
Give him the pillow over the face, kind of.
Exactly. Please. Just
RG3. Good night.
I ain't giving you guys my private keys either before it happens.
it's okay. We'll take him from your dead body.
Tattoo them on my ass for you. How's that?
Bro, I was about to say that.
That's a good idea, huh? Having your private keys tattooed on yourself.
You gotta
Butt cheek.
artist.
I don't know, man. You can get a.
Never mind. A lot of us won't be able to put the private keys there.
Yeah.
The real
magic like a taken scenario.
Yeah.
Do you guys know if like anyone in the community has tattooed it themselves with some Hex logo or some Hex mark?
No, that's
I'm
not
about
yet.
to.
We're not there yet, right? We're not there yet.
We're not. Yeah, we're not at the level.
I want to get a Hex tattoo so bad, just because I've already put so much time into this project. I might just do it.
Coffee, if you get a tattoo on the future version of Hex.Live, you have a special badge where the first tattooed man.
I'll do it for the badge.
I'll
get my own class.
Please, tramp stamp.
Coffee, there we go. Let's put that that ad campaign that you were doing. Let's put the money together, and the first guy that'll tattoo the freaking Hex logo on his forehead will give him the
forehead. No, bro.
The guy that did it for the Pittsburgh Steelers, right?
Giveaway, special giveaway.
It's right on his freaking forehead, right in the damn center there.
If I get 10 million Hex, donated, I'll tattoo Hex on not my forehead. Let's go with I'll do it on my neck. How about that?
Maybe that 6ix9ine kid will do it for us. He can put a Hex logo on his face.
Let's go.
All right, there you go. You've just heard it here first, guys.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't say how big it was going to be.
Yeah, there you go.
There's some hairy ass motherfuckers that'll get that like on their chest with their chest hair. Put like a Hex logo with the razor.
I'll shave it into the back of my head.
Well, I'm gonna go make my thumbnail for the day on that note. You guys.
All right, man. I'm gonna go do a stream with Talk Hex. So if anybody wants to come watch,
right on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'll go watch.
And then next Wednesday, the show is we're gonna have some ladies of Hex on there. So, all right, everybody. Thanks again for hanging with us for a while, and everybody on his best behavior. And we'll see you all next week. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you. Take care and have a good one. Later.
Thank you for having me on.
Later, guys.
Ciao.